You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, Wole, Ray, and Mo are your hosts. What's good?
What's happening, fella?
I love that. What's happening? So it's so calm. What's happening, fellas? You know what I'm saying? We're getting that much close. We're that much closer to training camp. We're in July now. All right. I could smell it. I can smell it.
Yeah, we're hearing some rumors too from some sources that Wole does not like. You know, he's like, we're not talking about.
They're not real sources. They're not
fake news on our show.
They're not real. So they're not real. That's what I'm saying. Because the coach already pretty much stated like that's not even a thing. It's a Yahoo thing. It's not even a real thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if it happens as a, I ain't gonna lie to you. Even if it happened, I wouldn't be mad. But it's not like it's one of them things, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when you called me out and you told me about that other situation about when I mentioned in basketball, I mentioned something that like you were like that source is bad. I was like, it's the same thing. It's basically the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, homeboy suffered an epic. He suffered an epic fall though recently. And
he
didn't even acknowledge it, but it's okay. I don't have nothing against Cuz, but some other people on Twitter definitely don't like him. But moving along, subscribe to our Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Errrything. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on the Urban Sports Scene Facebook page.
All right, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll talk about the PFF ranking of the Washington football team's roster. You know, the Washington football team's roster was ranked 12th on Pro Football Focus. 12th. Last year, they were ranked 31st. Do you agree with PFF? Mo Jeezy.
All right, fellas. Let's start the party. Let me start the party. I'm going to play the first song.
Okay.
So, I think it's a weak tape. Let me tell you why I think it's a weak tape. Last year, 12 teams made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally, you had the worst record in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at 12th best roster, I'm trying to find it on the roster where it can be. Whoever made this ranking, I think they just looked at the playoff teams and they went from there. Because I think the one standout position on the whole team, the one standout group in the whole team is the D-line.
Yeah.
You get an A.
Mm-hmm.
You give yourself an A+ on that.
Mm-hmm.
I see a bunch of C's all around the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's Terry. Terry's like a B+ player, but I feel like I think Curtis Samuel's the next best wide receiver. Best year is an 800-yard season. He's been like a gadget player. I can't get that more than a C+ at the very best. You know what I mean? At his very best. So the offensive line, I got to give them a high B, right? I think you have an All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, and a budding star at the center, right? With Roulier. And then you got the young guys that can come in, and Cornelius Lucas played really, really, really solid.
Yeah.
I keep getting this guy's name wrong. Schweitzer?
The guard?
The guard.
Yeah, you're right.
Him and Eric Flowers, I think. They got some figuring out to do. They traded for Eric Flowers, so I'm assuming Eric Flowers is going to start. Yeah. So I see a solid foundation there on both the front lines. But you're talking about quarterback, you're talking about running back. We talked about that last show.
Yeah,
we know what Terry do, but we're not too sure about everybody else. So I'm looking forward to training camp to get some more information on this team and how it's going to come together, how this depth chart is going to come together and fill up this roster.
Right.
I think that it's a youth movement.
Yeah.
Because you talk about Cam Curl, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and then you add Jamin Davis to the mix. And speaking of him, maybe whoever came up with this list is falling prey to the mini camp hype because Jamin Davis is getting like rave reviews.
I'm getting crucial reviews, bro.
If you take Jamin Davis and what is being reported about him and added to this defense, which is already top 5, bro, going to put this roster in the top 12. So I don't blame him. I don't necessarily say I have to agree with it, but you mentioned Scary Terry and you mentioned Curtis Samuel. Dude, who you going to necessarily say that's behind them should go in front of them? That's my question. If you want to come with the argument that they shouldn't be top 12, then make the case for who that's behind them should be in front of them. That's what I'm saying. And right now, I'm not falling prey to the Jamin Davis hype. I got to see it. I mean, I'm glad, as Lake Lewis said, he's dumb athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, but I'm not like Doc Walker said, like many others, and I've been saying for years, I'm original with it. I don't buy into the minicamp hype. But again, I don't know if there's any team behind them I can definitively say, all right, no, absolutely. You got to put the Cowboys in front of them or whoever. Nah.
No, I mean, I feel like with the roster, off of potential, we use the term potential. And it's because it's really more swayed on one side, right? It's swayed on that defense side of football. Just like if you're grading anything out, you're grading a strong team. For instance, like you grade a strong offense. For instance, we just use the Colts back. Reggie too well, and it was but
Yeah, he's gone. I knew something was wrong. Could you hear him?
He was breaking up.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. It was I want to make sure. Oh. It's still recording though. Oh, we about to be back in person, Mo. This guy.
Hey, what happened? What happened?
You got dropped off like you would just go like we couldn't hear anything. Like we didn't hear nothing you said except for all right, we'll take the gone again. Oh man. About to be back in person, man. All right.
Okay, you see me now? I don't know what's happening, man. I kept cutting out. I don't know what happened. My internet connection sucked. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. All right, but what was I saying before I got cut off? Still can't hear me. Can't hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
You hear me?
We couldn't make out
what was I
anything
saying before I got cut off?
We couldn't make out anything. You said let's take an example for you, and you said Reggie Bush or something. Did you say something? Reggie Wayne. You said the Colts. You said the Colts. Reggie Wayne.
All right, yeah. So Colts. Okay, now thank you. Now thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So what I was saying is that I guess because they're so heavy on one side, because Washington's so heavy on the defensive side with so much talent on that defensive side of football. That's why the ranking was high. You know what I mean? Like, because you can talk about a quarterback or whatever, because that's a lack. We don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback situation. Don't know we talked about the running back situation, but what we do know in terms of what we saw last season and some of the players that have been added, you're going to think, okay, that this defense is on the super strong. Because again, you mentioned other than Landon Collins at safety, which is maybe say the other safety situation, which you don't even know. Like McCain is getting high reviews, but other than like Landon Collins and Bostic, you can make the argument that this team has Pro Bowl caliber players within every situation, every position. You can argue it. On that defensive side of football, you may not think like that's. I mean, that if you look at the link of Pro Football Plus, which is the respectable analytic side of the NFL, you look at that link, that's pretty much what is stated. Like on that defense side of football, even you don't like Willie Jackson, Mo, but Willie Jackson is highly regarded in terms of multiple circles.
it's not that Mo doesn't like Willie Jackson. Mo doesn't like Willie Jackson being used, not in Willie Jackson's strong suit.
But you don't know that. See, the point is you don't know that. Like, you don't know he will or won't, right? Because again, job of a coach, you coach Mo. A job of a coach is to do what for their player and their personnel? Is to utilize them in the best case scenario. So they sign it
for the best of their abilities.
Yeah, best abilities. So to your point, if you, for instance, you and I'm not using this as an example of just anything, like Adoree Jackson was signed by the Giants, right? They better use Adoree Jackson the way he's supposed to be. Because you use Adoree Jackson differently, you're not going to get the best out of him.
You're not going to get the best out of him. But
exactly. So
but in that example, the Giants are primary. It seems like the Giants were up to something on that one because they went a lot of man coverage last year. That's why Bradbury went off last year. So bringing in another man corner at the second spot.
But Darby played a lot of man. So Darby, who was here last season, but played a lot of man. And got beat too in the same time.
Darby played a lot of zone too. You played a lot of zone.
But Darby played a lot of man. I know, but he played a lot of man. Darby played a lot of man, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, he played a lot of man. So I'm just saying that's how they're looking at it. But it's always questions. I agree with everybody. There's questions about 12. That's pretty high. But to Ray's point, argument is who do you put in front of him?
Can I answer that?
Of course.
I'm gonna answer that. Ray said it in the first team after them is the first one. The Tennessee Titans, there's no way you're telling me what you guys have on offense and what they have on offense even matches up. They have the best running back in the league as of the last 2 years. They have Julio Jones and AJ Brown. Tannehill has been playing top 5 quarterback type, top 7 quarterback type.
How many years though?
The last two seasons. The last two seasons. I can only talk about
which.
I can only.
But you don't like Ryan Fitzpatrick though. But go ahead. I want to hear this though. But you don't like Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's all I'm saying. We're going.
Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't almost throw 40 touchdowns last year.
2 years. I'm just saying 2 seasons though. But go.
Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't almost throw 40 touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill has 75 touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. And that's not counting his rushing touchdowns. There's another 10 rushing touchdowns. Ryan Tannehill, when he got inserted in that starting lineup and Mariota missed that game, I'm not saying he's the reason because we know that DH is back there, but he is the best complement at quarterback for what that team does. He got the best out of Corey Davis than anybody that's been in Tennessee. They've been a winner. They went to the AFC Championship 1 year. Right? Then last year, they lost to the Ravens. So with that atrocious defense that they have, I'm just looking at the offense. It's no way your offense is better than their offense. Not even close.
We talking about roster as a whole, though, Mo. That's what I'm saying. So
I hear you.
Go ahead. Because here's what it reminds me of. Now, this is obvious, but like, Mo, you know who Lee Flowers is? You remember?
Who?
We still record Lee Flowers. Remember Lee Flowers from Pittsburgh?
Lee Flowers.
Leomar Flowers. He referred to the 2003 Tampa Bay Bucks preseason. He referred to them as paper champions, right? Okay. And the reason why he felt like that is because they always had this hype, but they didn't win. Now, of course, Washington doesn't have as much hype back then because look at what Tampa had. They had Derrick Brooks. They had Simeon Rice, Rondé Barber, Warren Sapp. They were top heavy on defense, right? But offense, John Lynch, yes, thank you. But on offense, they had Brad Johnson at quarterback. They had Michael Pittman at running back. But they had Mike Allstott at fullback. Maybe he was their most famous offensive player.
They had Keyshawn.
Yeah, Keyshawn wasn't the same Keyshawn all the time. I'm just saying their offense was like, man, but their defense was top heavy, and they were rated one of the top rosters coming in, and that pissed Lee Flowers off, which is why he called them paper champions. So it's very similar. This team is, like you said, top heavy on defense. They had some decent offensive pieces, but not the greatest maybe. But how can't you say they were a Super Bowl contender? You know.
Can you tell me what they proceeded to do that year?
Huh?
What did they proceed to do that year?
Win a Super Bowl.
So I mean, you just talked about.
I'm saying preseason they were called paper champions by Lee Flowers because they weren't. He didn't feel like they were that good.
Clearly, Lee Flowers is
overhyped.
a fool. Clearly, Lee Flowers is a fool. That's 4 Hall of Famers and a fringe Hall of Famer in Simeon Rice. Because Rondé's getting in.
Is he?
Rondé's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Rondé Barber's a Hall of Fame. Okay.
Rondé Barber is a Hall of Famer.
That's debatable.
John Lynch is a Hall of Famer. As of
Debatable.
this year. Sapp, Derek Brooks.
Okay. I won't argue those two.
Simeon Rice is in the Hall of Very Good. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, Booger McFarland.
What Simeon Rice is? Simeon Rice is like that. But go ahead, continue.
Love Simeon Rice. You're not gonna get no arguments over here.
I love Simeon Rice.
They saw the Michael Vick.
Like
they saw the Michael Vick piece that nobody else could.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know. Rondé Barber, you got Rondé Barber in the Hall before Simeon?
That's Rondé Barber. Rondé Barber's getting in the Hall of Fame.
No. Before Simeon?
You talk about like 40 interceptions.
Simeon played good everywhere. Simeon played good, and I think he was drafted by corner, right? Initially, then he went to Tampa. He was good everywhere.
He was good everywhere. Listen, man, Rondé has
Simeon's sack numbers are high. They're pretty high too. Simeon's sack numbers are pretty high too.
I mean, but he also played next to second or third best D tackle of all time.
But I'm saying he's always been that
even
dude.
Before Tampa.
I mean, even before Tampa, he was always that dude. I can't even say it off him. Like I have to see the stats.
To Ray's point, right? We know it's on paper and whatnot. Ray was saying that Lee Flowers, some fool, was saying that they were paper champions, as if at the time those weren't four Hall of Fame bound. At the very least, 3 All Pros that we knew at any given time on that defense. Like, I like what Washington has on defense, but I can't say that they have 4 Hall of Famers as it stands today. I know I can say that about on defense. I could say that about that Tampa defense. I can say that about them back then.
Yeah. Oh, when they were super young?
No, when they won the chip.
But they were vets though. They were. They were young.
What I'm saying is they were considered a top roster because they were top heavy on defense. I'm just saying offense. They were like Michael Pittman, Brad Johnson. Like
they were young. But they were young vets. That was different. They were already
established. Absolutely.
Established. They knew who they were.
Tony Dungy had them close. Definitely.
Yeah, because Warren Sapp Warren Sapp for a couple of seasons, people even thought he was underachieving until like Tony had took him and kind of ran with it. So like when they were established, like it was what it was.
To my Tennessee point, right? To my Tennessee point, Derrick Henry is looking like the greatest thing to ever toe the rock, right?
But their defense is.
But I'm just saying, I'm just doing a comparison with the Washington football team. We did a whole show on Gibson last week. Is he ready? Was the question. We don't have no debate about is King Henry ready.
Okay.
King Henry got two rushing titles in 2 years, 2 touchdown titles in 2 years, 2 All Pros in 2 years.
It's great.
At that pace, he's rolling.
He's one of the best backs.
He's rolling so much more than what Washington can put out.
Yeah, great point. I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
Right. So Tennessee has them at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. I think the Washington football, AJ Brown and Julio Jones is better than Terry and anybody you want to put out there.
Sure.
Well, you killing me, man.
Yeah, we can't hear what you're saying, bro.
Well, they got that Spectrum internet. That's what that is, man.
He's supposed to have Verizon like we do. I just don't know if his I don't know if his is bootleg or what, but you can't hear nothing that's man.
I know where the questions come, Ray. The questions come on defense, right? But I see Bayard back there. He's a consensus top 5 safety in the league. We don't know about Fairley because of the back. They got Janoris. He's a good vet. Their linebacker position can use some work, but they got a young talent in Harold Landry from out of Boston College. That was their lead sack artist last year. And an interior lineman that a lot of people are not talking about, Simmons from Mississippi State that played on the inside of Montez Sweat. He's a problem. Jeffrey Simmons.
Oh, listen, it comes down to how you utilize these pieces
Right.
because I think that Tennessee offensively, I mean, Derrick Henry's a beast, don't get it twisted, but they're just average offensively, even with Brown. I like them, but I'm just saying, like, they're inconsistent. It's all about what the coaching staffs do. And I think Vrabel has done a great job of putting that team in position. And you answered the question. You felt like Tennessee maybe should be placed ahead of Washington. And you know what? I can't necessarily argue that. So that's a good one. But it still says about Washington, this team has come a long way to go from, as he said, preseason ranked roster, 31, I think he said, to now being ranked 12. Again, it's many teams that probably you could debate should be better. And I only use the Tampa example from 2002, 2003 is because, again, defensively, they were top heavy. But even that, of course, people say you're crazy because you didn't have a Derrick Brooks, you didn't have a Quarles on your team on defense. Washington's defense still needs work, right? The linebacker spot, like I said, is unproven. So maybe the ranking is too high. If I had to lean one way, I would say they're probably ranked a bit too high. But again, you're just going off pure rosters. I don't have issue with it. Julio Jones, that's my guy. But his best days are behind him, my dude. Just being real.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wole. You got to do something about Ray Wole. I don't understand.
His best days. I'm not saying he can't still be a top wide receiver. I think his best days are behind him.
Oh, I mean, I think that's a fair. I mean, that's fair, but I think that's like I think you're using age and all that, 10 years experience and all that. For
Injuries,
that.
definitely.
But this man was on pace for 1,500 yards last year. Let's not forget that.
On pace.
On pace.
But he's always injured, Mo. He's been injured. He's been injury prone since he came, but he's tough and he's overcome a lot. He's overcome a shoulder, a foot. I mean, but even at the combine, he ran like a 4.2 with like a broken foot. So he's tough. Oh, he doesn't play. He doesn't play every game. He typically he'll give you a strong 10 games out of a season, but still it's always games with either he's playing with injuries or he doesn't play at all. That's all I'm saying. But again, I won't make it about Julio. I think the Tennessee argument is a good one. I really do. I think I wouldn't argue if you said Tennessee goes ahead.
I'm just saying though, outside of the year that he broke his foot, the man went like 7 straight years with 15 games plus. I think
that's what I'm saying. He plays through a lot of injuries. Did you see the New England, the game where they played New England and he caught a bomb on like a broken foot? Like the dude is tough as nails. I'm just saying it culminates. Kobe Bryant was the same way, but eventually it caught up to him. And I'm telling you, hamstrings, come on, man. You factor that into all what we were talking about. The man has played through enough, and at his age, I think he's going to be Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson always going to be a top receiver. He's going to be a guy that you have to pay attention to on the field. He's going to put up numbers, but eventually it's going to catch up with him. And I think Julio is going to catch up. It's catching up with him now.
I think it should. I
would love to have Julio on my team still. I just didn't think, for where the Falcons are building, it will work out. So Tennessee has a great receiver on their hands, and I hope he give you a good year or two.
Listen, man,
where he's going to be playing at high level.
I hear you. Give me somebody that in 10 years played 135 games that has 13,000 yards, man. He has the highest per game average in NFL history.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Until I see him fall off the cliff, I'm sorry.
You good? We can hear you now, bro.
I know my internet. I did something. I had to. It was doing too much for me, man. It was killing me. It was killing my whole life. Oh man,
he said you had Spectrum internet, bro.
I heard he said. I heard all the jokes.
Though. So you can hear us.
Oh, I can hear everything. I heard. Yeah, it was cut in and out. So I was hearing all the jokes. I heard Verizon. I'm an Xfinity. Right, I have Xfinity, dog. Not Verizon.
That's the problem, then.
Yeah. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Really,
Verizon is the best way to go during the pandemic. When more people are using internet than ever and streaming platforms, you have to go with Verizon.
I feel you,
man. Come on, Verizon, give us a deal. You can just pay us like $1,000. We don't need a big endorsement deal, but we giving you one right now. If
you real people do real things, man. Hey, were you talking about Milwaukee? What are you talking about? You talking about what?
You said Milwaukee.
I said I'm off. I'm thinking about NBA finals.
Hey, bro, that's going to show you that that's what we should be watching. But no, because I was just saying with Mo. First of all. The Tampa roster, while it was hype, it was clearly a better roster than Washington, and it clearly had a good amount of hype surrounding it because they were close anyway. And we know the coaching change happened, but this team in particular against the Tennessee Titans, that's the team he mentioned, could be placed ahead of Washington in terms of top 12 rosters. I said it's halfway decent, and he broke down their defense too while you were.
But their defense was like, all right, so their defense is like, so their defense was ranked, it was bad last year though, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the problem with that. See, this is the problem with that in the offense. We're going to say that they're better. In any football, if your defense is bad, right? If your defense is bad, and just any level, if your defense is bad, you got to have that dude as a quarterback. This is we all know this is you can't have and no disrespect to Tannehill, you can't have a Tannehill if your defense is bad.
The way he's been playing.
No, I'm just saying no. You got to have everything can't be like. You gotta have a guy that you can't even lean on the running. You gotta have that guy. Like your defense is horrible, traditionally speaking. Even the way he is playing, it still ain't Aaron Rodgers. The way he playing still ain't Tom Brady. The way he playing ain't Drew Brees. When healthy. When you have a bad defense, it's a different level. You gotta be at a different level. That's the reason why this season, that in that postseason, they did lose to Baltimore. There's a reason why they did lose to Baltimore compared to prior years. Their defense was a little bit more respectable. So if you're going to have a bad defense, then it's no knock to Tannehill. This is not a knock on Tannehill. Your quarterback got to be elite. So that's what I'm saying. That's what messes Tennessee up. Now, if you got a good defense, you can mask suspect quarterback play. As long as you ain't turn the football over 24, you can mask it. You can hide some things. So that's what I'm saying. That's what makes the Tennessee thing a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because usually, okay, when you talk about giving the ball to Derrick Henry, who's the best running back in football is Derrick Henry. The best real running back in football is Derrick Henry. But we all know when you playing that type of football, your defense has to be adequate, and you just can't lean on this because your defense has to be adequate. If your defense isn't adequate enough, then you're putting so much pressure on this one dude. So that's the issue. That's all I'm saying with Tannehill. It's different. It's a different animal when we talk about it. Now, if that defense is adequate, but we're going off the roster. If that defense is adequate, then yeah, I agree. They should be definitely ranked way over the Washington. It shouldn't even be a discussion. I'm with you with the offensive weapons. I'm with you with Julio. I'm with you with Brown. I'm with you with Henry. Tannehill, because you're right. He's been consistent. You know what I'm saying? They lost their tight end, but still, it's enough weapons to still rock with it, right? I'm just saying that defense plays a big part of what they want to be. Because that defense is average. Tannehill ain't at that level. He ain't at that level to carry that.
I mean, I concur. I just see when I'm looking at talent, outside of the
offensive talent is real though, man. The offensive talent is real.
I'm looking at the Titans. I'm looking at how we can say something bad about the Seahawks, and the Saints are below them. Like
the Saints I ain't gonna lie. The Saints one was kind of like suspect.
That one I ain't gonna lie. A little bit, you know.
That one I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie because Saints defense is good. It's proven. It's good.
It's proven. Marcus Williams is a beast. You know, Malcolm Jenkins can do.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
You got Marshawn.
Mm-hmm.
They got a Pro Bowler at every level.
Cam Jordan, and if you can't question, even
Cam Jordan's going to Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What's up with you throwing out Hall of Fame all of a sudden tonight?
You said Simeon Rice to the Hall of Fame. You said Simeon Rice in Hall of Fame with Cam Jordan.
I'm done. I'm logging off.
I did not say that, Wole. I did not say that.
I'm logging off, man.
Cam Jordan has some time to go.
Okay,
I'm talking about some Hall of Fame. What's up with the Hall of Fame all of a sudden? Is that because we get close to the Hall of Fame game?
Jordan got 100 sacks in less than 10 years. That's Hall of Fame.
But you can't say my man just a good player. You can't say my man Simeon Rice is a very, very good player. He's a Hall of Famer.
You said the Hall of very good for Simeon Rice. That's what you said.
I said that.
Cam Jordan better in the Hall of very, very good too. He better in that same Hall. Don't try to age me.
I said that because Simeon Rice has been out of the league for a while, right?
I know. I'm with you, man.
He's not been a finalist yet.
I got you.
Cam Jordan ain't waiting that long. What he's done.
Cam
Jordan's going in.
I don't know, man.
Cam Jordan's on the AJ Green pace before AJ Green started getting hurt. And AJ Green's still going to find his way in there.
Hopefully, man.
There ain't no hopefully nothing. That's
I love AJ, man. I love AJ. Hopefully,
listen,
man.
What What do black moms say when they treat their kid unfair? That's not my baby. Y'all better leave AJ Green alone.
I hope he in there, man. But not, yeah.
We're gonna start a fight on this podcast. Mention.
All right, see, you lucky because we all love AJ Green.
We all love AJ Green.
AJ Green is a star, man.
Star, man. We've been talking about AJ for a
we
minute.
agree on that.
No, but the New Orleans thing, I see that one I do agree with. I think New Orleans, as like the same question mark you could say about quarterback play, you could say about the same thing with New Orleans. Like you can use that, but even with that, you got number one wide receiver, you got number one running back. You ain't arguing that. You know what I'm saying? You got weapons on the offense side of football. The offensive line is still good. On that defense side of football, they was ranked. I think they were top 5, right? They were top 5 in defense or something like that.
Who was New Orleans quarterback?
It's gonna be Jameis or what's the name? But it's still question mark.
That's why they got demoted because.
But that's what I'm saying. But you can say that. But you can say
that is being held in high regard.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can say the same thing about Fitz though. That's what I'm saying. He's a question mark, just like their question mark. Sure. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I agree with Mo is like really you could put New Orleans. I think New Orleans should be over Washington.
New Orleans is a good one.
I think New Orleans is a good one. I think they
got. You answer the questions. I'm good with it.
You know
so if we put New Orleans and Tennessee, presumably.
I wouldn't put Tennessee though. I wouldn't put Tennessee, but I would put New Orleans though.
That's because you hating on Tannehill. Stop hating on Tannehill.
I'm just saying it's the same question. He's just saying he's similar to like a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But I'm just saying hypothetically.
And Fitzpatrick might have took his job already for all I know.
Hypothetically, we can say it's a debate, right? It is a debate. Tennessee is a debate. So if you put
New
Washington behind them, okay, but still, even if you put just those two, Washington is 14. Okay, Washington is 14, right? That's still a vast improvement from 31. That's my whole thing.
They're like 13. They're better than Tennessee though, but that's okay though. But
so Tennessee, New Orleans,
I got New Orleans. New Orleans definitely no big. Okay, New Orleans is better than. I think their rosters. I'll give New Orleans. I totally agree with that. I feel like New Orleans. If I saw how low they were, I was like, I'm like
it's a bit unfair.
The Cardinals.
I like the AJ. See, I like them, but I don't know about their defense. I wouldn't
put the Cardinals ahead of Washington. I would.
I don't like their defense. I don't like what they did.
Drastically better, if you ask me.
They let Whistling go. They don't got Pat Pete no more.
You said the offense is drastically better?
Kyler Murray's better.
No, that's not even close. The offense, everybody's offense at this particular point in time, because all we can go off of what we saw last year, and you adding one.
Okay, Kyler Murray is better. Okay,
yeah, of course.
Who else?
They just added AJ Green with DeAndre Hopkins, and they drafted Rondell.
DeAndre Hopkins, easy,
yeah, right. Yeah, nobody's arguing that.
They added Rodney Hudson at the center.
Yeah. But what about
But see, I think you keep going to offense.
I'm talking about their defense. I know their offense is better. Like I'm not.
You talking about roster as a whole? I told you that before.
Their defense is what?
Their defense.
They let Hassan Reddy go.
It's easy to start an offense though. We can go to any team. We can go to Atlanta then. Let's go to Atlanta.
Atlanta's offense is way better than Washington.
Come on, man. Like get out of here with that, Mo. Like defense. Atlanta's defense ain't close, and Arizona's defense ain't close, and Tennessee's defense ain't close, man.
Better than Washington's. Not as comprised today.
Who? Atlanta's offense?
Not as comprised today.
Yes, it is.
Stop.
Look, it is. Look, you got
tight end, quarterback, receivers.
Matt Ryan is better than Fitzmagic.
Yes.
McLaurin and
really are
in the same conversation.
Okay, you can say conversation, but the stats are better.
What you mean?
Really, stats are better. Like somebody pull up. I don't got stats, but I mean, I love. I don't want to. I'm not trying to throw shade. Don't with
Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen,
look, man. Look, I don't want to throw shade. I'm not throwing shade. This is not a knock on Scary Tate. He's great. He's amazing. He's gonna you're right.
Mo,
but I can only go off of you're right. It's unfortunate, but I can only go off of that. Though it's unfortunate, but I can.
Atlanta had no offensive line. None.
I can only go off of that.
You have to get open. You have to get open.
And then the tight end. Look, and then the tight end. Come on, Mo.
He hasn't played yet.
Mo, come on.
No.
Mo.
Without
come on, man. Mo. Come on. African. Come on, man. Come on, man. Atlanta offense is better, man. It's a better offensive roster.
But they don't have a back. They don't have nowhere. They don't have nobody close to Gibson.
I will agree with that. Nowhere close to Gibson. Come on, man. Like who even measuring?
Smith,
Atlanta's running back situation right now. No, it's not the best, of course. But the Washington running back situation, we had a show about it. It's not that great either.
It's not great, and we don't know,
But give me one guy with 700 yards and 11 touchdowns.
I can't. I'm just saying.
It's better, right? As
of now, the running back. That's it, though. That's it.
I'm talking about today.
But that's probably it, though. I mean, the offensive line, it's only the Washington's offensive line and maybe
Washington's offensive line is better.
Yeah, and the running back play.
Of course it is.
And running back play. And that's about it. That's guaranteedly better. That's guaranteed.
We're talking about tight end, receiver, and quarterback. Are definitively better.
As a core. As a core too. As a core.
Definitively better.
Yeah. As a core. As a core, the pass catchers as a core, the pass catchers in Atlanta are better at this particular point in time.
Huh?
Yeah, because they have proven commodities, bro. It's proven commodities. You got really engaged. They're still better than what we've seen last year.
Gage?
He's better than he was last year.
He's the same discussion as Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, he's probably the same. Better numbers, right? He put up better numbers probably than Curtis Samuel.
He did.
As a catcher. Check it out. No, seriously, he did. But because he was from LSU. He went to LSU too, right? He went to LSU. He went to LSU.
No, really went to Alabama.
It was LSU. No.
Yeah, he said Gage went to LSU.
Gage went to LSU. I believe he went to LSU.
But LSU.
Yeah.
Went to LSU.
Yeah.
Man, Russell Gage had 700 yards last year, 10.9 average, and 4 touchdowns.
How many receptions?
72.
72. I mean, look, I'm telling you, that's 700 for a number 2 wide receiver.
I mean,
good.
That is very comfortable.
He is succeeded in making this about Washington's offense. That's what
I'm saying. All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is that in terms of offense,
and then he go. That's what I'm saying. That's how you. Then he go advocate for the running back.
No. But Mo, I'm just saying, like, all I'm saying is that
Ito Smith, though. Ito Smith and Mike Davis.
All I'm saying is defensively for Washington. Defensively, the talent is so immense.
So much more profound.
Yeah, it's going to uplift the whole roster. It's just like anything. Like, I think this is the thing that we all do as football fans or whoever, is that when we look at a team's roster, we automatically go to the offense and we stay there and we like, oh, he got this, they got that, and we stay there. We don't really look at both sides of the football team. And for Washington, it's a little different. Like, all that offensive explosion, it's like put on defense.
Wole,
so when you look on that defense,
Wole, I was going to get there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You guys ain't never let me get there.
Look, man, I've been cutting in and out, so I don't know where anything's going. So
okay, no, because whenever we talk about teams that are behind Washington, you quickly compare offense to offense, which is easy.
Hey, let me get to the deep. You know I'm long-winded. I mean, geez.
All right, man, go ahead, man, because I don't know what's going on. My internet be cutting in and out, so we good. Go ahead, bro.
The only defense that I was shocked about is the one I think that we all agree with, the Saints.
Yeah, I think the Saints is.
I think the Saints have a Pro Bowler and All-Pro at each level of defense, or close.
Oh, close, yeah, definitely close.
Right,
because Malcolm Jenkins is back. He's back there, right now. He's back there.
Don't get me wrong, William Jackson's a really, really good player.
Yeah.
He hasn't had any accolades yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Fuller's the same way. I think the only person with accolades in the Washington football team secondary is Landon, and that's his when he was at
New York, yeah. And he
hasn't been the same player in DC, right? So we know, even though they've been talking highly of Jamin, I'm not hearing nothing about a linebacker in shorts.
Yeah.
So Corey Holcomb and
I like Corey Holcomb though.
What's my last guy? Who's the other?
No, I don't care about Bostic. You talking about Bostic?
And Bostic, they're C- linebackers at the very best.
So, I wouldn't say about Holcomb, but Bostic. Holcomb is.
They're
okay, you're gonna see. Look, you heard this conversation here.
It's one end of the spectrum for him. It's Hall of Fame and C-. A lot of C guys over here, and a lot of Hall of Famers over here.
You watch Holcomb play, right?
Holcomb is all right. Holcomb cannot do anything by himself.
I'm about to show you. Do I got to show you clips when he bust up Zeke by himself?
Listen,
off of just blow up. You don't know about
man. Even a wrong clock is right twice a day.
All right, bro. I'm telling you. Holcomb got pedigree in terms of what he did in college.
It's even a broke clock, right? It's even a broke clock is right twice a day.
So I don't know what you.
Yeah, even a broke clock is right twice a day.
All I'm saying is that like Holcomb is actually like
you're not
one
talking
of the better
about
ones.
Corey Holcomb on this podcast.
We are, man. Corey Holcomb could ball,
and
bro.
trying to so
he's not a question mark. He's not the biggest question mark.
The linebacker core is a question mark.
No, the biggest question mark. Oh no, only question mark is Bostic on that on the linebacker. You moving Holcomb. You moving Holcomb on the outside. He's not playing inside. So he's gonna
Jamin Davis and all his talent.
That's
Jamin Davis and all his talent is still a one-year college wonder who bust on the scene, who got drafted higher than he was supposed to. Okay. So until he does something on the football field with shoulder pads and helmets, Jamin Davis.
Well, this is
the only thing about Jamin Davis is he's a shiny object in some mud.
You know what's so cool about this though? I remember listening to a prior show about Jamin Davis. My man Mo was talking him up, and
I like him. I do like him. What I'm saying is I have to use the information that I already know, right? I have to use the information I know when I'm. I know. Of course. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is like to keep it 100, to actually be totally honest with the situation. What makes it easier, and we can all agree to it. Well, me and Mo, we can agree to this. I don't know, Ray, you may agree or not, because I think me and Mo have talked about this. The front four makes it easier for guys like a Jamin Davis. Oh yeah. And a Holcomb, if you know, Holcomb, whoever, to be a better player. Just makes it easier. To be a better player. That's the hope. Like you're not asking Jamin Davis to on a Sawyer defensive front to be this dude to kind of hold everything down. You're asking him to be himself, and we're gonna make it easy for you with this front four. I mean, all that talent in front of him.
That's what you're hoping for.
He should be shooting gaps. If Jamin Davis don't lead the league in tackles for loss, something's wrong.
I'm wrong. And I mean, but you just got to grade it out. Is he better in terms of skill set than what they had prior? That's how I look at it.
I mean, shoot,
and that was still a decent defense.
Man,
that's how you go off it. That was still a decent defense.
The man is an action figure at linebacker.
Yeah. My man called my homie calls him a specimen.
Yeah, he is a specimen.
He calls him a specimen. But yeah, man. So anyway, I mean, it is what it is. No one knows what these ranked things mean.
Top 15 roster potentially.
Top 15. I'll take top 15. 12. Potentially. 12 made me had to sound like a hater. You know what I mean?
It's all good, man.
No, it's not that. It's just I still feel like I'm glad you answered the question. I'm just saying that you couldn't find too many teams that you could definitively say I'm gonna place them ahead of Washington, which I think
you had some teams ahead that I was kind of scratching my head, but not because of Washington. Not because of Washington. Not because of Washington. Just
I saw
in
a team
general.
at the top that kind of made me
just in general. The Broncos are high. The Broncos are very high.
Broncos up there like that.
John, they got the Broncos like.
I mean, but then again,
the talent is there though. Don't get
the Broncos. If you talk about defense,
they got Hall of Famers all around.
Von Miller's coming back.
Jerry Jeudy is a Hall of Famer potential in the future.
Stop that.
He is though. That's my guy. Don't talk bad about Mo Jeudy. Don't talk bad about.
I'm just trying to be like Mo. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, Ray, there was a rhyme and reason behind mine. You just throwing things out
Don't talk bad about no Jeudy though. Real talk. Don't talk bad about no Jeudy.
I'm actually about to send you a video that I saw earlier of him that made me think about you. I forgot to send you.
Oh, that boy nice.
Boy, chopping people up.
Where's Miami on the list? I would like to look at the list as a whole.
Miami's number 20.
They don't like Tua. Folks don't like Tua like that.
Yeah, they don't like Tua. Miami's number 22.
Yeah, but still though. And they added Waddle. And their defense is good. It's good. It's good.
I mean,
they don't like.
See, that's a team I would say. You know what? They need to be bumped up higher. There's a whole lot of debates. I know we talking just about Washington. So,
but
hey, it is.
Miami has one.
It's a biased list
on their whole team.
No, it's not.
They have one Pro Bowl on their whole team.
Is it one? Is this one? Yeah. I mean, but it's such a good young nucleus, though. It's such a good young nucleus.
They have one Pro Bowl on the entire team. I mean, like they play well together. Don't get me
wrong. They coach well too. We know what they coach well.
Part of these rankings are some accolades. You got to have these accolades.
Yeah.
And they're missing that.
Okay. Well, that's what I need to see the criteria.
The real talk though, what makes it work though for all talent, you know what I'm saying, it's coaching. So just Coach Rivera, Scott Turner, they're gonna have to do whatever to make. I say Jack Del Rio because the defense is gonna be all right, but you know what I'm saying, Coach. I mean, Turner.
The defense has to grow as well. You know, I like it because we're talking about just roster alone, and based on what we saw.
Yeah.
However, it's gonna be interesting to see when the mobile quarterbacks come up against this defense.
But it's
How,
gonna be
how are
better.
they going to adjust this season? You know,
It's gonna
you
be better.
you
They're not
play
gonna be
against a couple
slower.
good ones, including Pat. Even though Pat isn't the fastest, you got Danny Dimes in New York who showed to be mobile. He fell on his
mobile,
own,
but it's not. No, but
he's mobile though. And you got to see him twice. You got to see Dak twice. You got to see
I'm
possibly
good with that
Jalen
though.
Hurts.
See, I'm good with that though. I'm good with that because those dudes were slow. That's a difference. Like the dudes were.
Are we sold on the Vikings?
I saw that too, Mo. I was like the
ninth?
Vikings were high. And their defense, the Vikings were high.
If you look at their roster construction and their defense, I think
the defense wasn't good last year.
You got Cook. No, it wasn't. But I'm just saying again, we're talking about a roster.
But it was horrible last year with the same roster. That's what I'm saying.
And
like
Patrick Peterson was horrible last year, even though that's my man. Don't you? That's another.
They got Bree though. They got my man Bree. You know what I'm saying? So they good.
Don't you talk no nonsense about.
They got Bree. They got my man Bree. They got the homie Bree. They got Breland. They got
Breland. But don't you? Patrick Peterson wasn't good last year, and he can do that. That's his one slip up in 10 years.
But I ain't gonna lie, I was curious about that though. I was curious about Minnesota. It was the Denver and Minnesota kind of got me. But I do their roster is talented though. I was like the roster is talented. So I guess they were doing off of what potential, like the word potential. So because a lot of those situations, some of these dudes.
Well, that's the case, then the Cowboys should be hired.
That's what I was saying. I was saying the same thing because
they're loaded on offense.
They're
and
loaded on offense.
They drafted Parsons on
and
defense.
And they drafted Cox.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, talent wise.
So I don't know what this is based off of, but it's going to be fun to see how it plays out. But it shows the respect that Washington football is now getting. It's just what you do now with this newfound notoriety that hasn't existed here in a while, and that's the dope part.
Yeah, how you cook them groceries, man. It's all about how you cook them groceries. Because if you ain't cooking them right, it ain't gonna work, man.
We'll see what
it's gonna go bad.
That's what me and Mo talking about. You got to marinate, baby. This over the course of time. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to see a Super Bowl winning team this season.
You gotta see. You should though. Hopefully they do.
Sustained excellence.
Man, Ray, like Monty, Ray, we gotta be like, hey, we do that, we blow up, right?
No. See, that's different. There's no CP3 coming to this roster.
Ray.
My point is, and Devin Booker's a star. Chase is a star, definitely. You know, but what they have to show is, can you win with just strong defensive play? And possibly average
this article
they can go to the NFC Championship. They're that good.
Like the article said, you know what I'm saying? If they get the Ryan Fitzpatrick who's played the last 3 seasons, because we gotta do it off the last 3 seasons, then they can be a very good football team.
Okay.
3 seasons, the last 3 seasons.
They can be.
You know what I'm saying?
Again, I think NFC Championship is their ceiling for this year. I might even pick that. I'm leaning towards it. What I'm saying is, that's good enough. As clearly, Heineke's performance in that playoff game was good enough to get this fan base excited and this team excited. I mean, come on now. In a game you lost, Terry McLaurin put his arm around and said, man, I can rock with this dude any time of the year. They were excited coming out the game. They felt the potential, what can become a good roster and a contending roster down the line. I think that's dope. Man. So if you go to the NFC Championship game, you should be happy with that.
For me, whatever. Both teams play hard, man.
Wole is African, man. That's like coming.
When you have bigger aspirations, then of course you'll be disappointed. My team blew a 28-3 lead in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. I can't be excited like, well, at least we came close. No, you're supposed to win that. This team ain't supposed to win Super Bowl.
School about the African thing, Mo.
Wole, will you tell them that's like coming home with a 3.8 instead of a 4.0?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Boy,
exactly.
Your African mom would make you feel bad about a 3.8. Worse than a 2.5.
No, that's different because it's the journey it took for them to get here. Those that came before you, but expectations.
My dad was like something. My dad would be like, "What are you?"
Expectations are one thing. You know what I'm saying? This is a totally different.
Look, man, my expectations is if they get to a point to be that good to get to the NFC Championship game, then the expectations change. You already know that.
What are your expectations? Well, your expectations last year was they can't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I actually have higher expectations from this year. I actually think they can be a
why
very,
though?
very good team.
Tell me why.
Oh, because I believe in. Well, you gotta know who I am as a football fan. I believe in defense over everything. Like I just do. I love defense.
I know you've always been that guy.
Yeah. So if you can I feel like this defense has the potential to be something thorough. So if you can have a thorough defense and Scott Turner can be adequate as a play caller, I think they can beat anybody in terms of. I
agree with that.
If you can beat anybody, that tells me that you're able to do some special things. I'm not saying that they're the favorites, but I'm saying that my expectations aren't to a Mo be talking about like to have a bad record going in. I expect them to be close to winning double-digit wins because I think this defense is that good. If you coach it right, it's that good. You know what I'm saying?
So that's why the remaining questions need to be answered. A, you got to show it against mobile quarterbacks. And then you in the first matchup of the playoffs, you didn't get a mobile quarterback, but you couldn't get pressure.
But see, again, so just to go, this is the thing. What you did, you addressed it. That's what I'm saying. You addressed that in the offseason. You did already. Like, that's not the dudes that are, if I told you I'm putting Pierre Lewis out there with Bostic, and that's it, and you got no speed with it, you're going to run, and you're going to get a lot of yards. I didn't give you a 4-3 dude. I gave you a 4-3 dude. I got Willie Jackson, who's a 4-4 cornerback. I got speed all around. There wasn't speed all around. This defense is now fast. It's a different beast. So that's my thing is that you address that. Like, so that's addressed. That shouldn't be an issue. If it's an issue, it's because coaching. It shouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? So again, to my point, that's how I look at this defense. Like, all right, you should be ready to rock now. I
agree. And here's why I agree. And why I said NFC Championship, because you made the playoffs last year. You created a buzz based on your performance. And now you can go to that next step. So that means you should be able to win a playoff game this year. That's my expectation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? I agree. They should be able to. They definitely should be able to win a playoff game.
But Super Bowl might be going a little bit far, brother.
But it could happen, though. It could happen, though. I'm saying it could happen.
If Ryan Fitzpatrick or Taylor Heineke is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, man, that's going to be amazing. I'm going to be right here covering it with you guys and excited to do so.
Man, Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It happens, man. Hey, subscribe to our podcast. On
He's a Hall of Famer in my book.
iTunes and Google Podcast. Search all Burgundy and Gold Errrything with the Urban Sports Team. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Team. Hit us up on our Urban Sports Team Facebook page.
Future Hall of Famer.
I appreciate everybody for listening and dealing with me breaking in and out, man. My internet's some trash. Hey, you've been listening to all Burgundy and Go Errrything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9
Matt Ryan's Hall of Famer though.
And 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, 4 ages. You dig? Deuces. A Mecca. Lead us out, big homie.